Thanks, Karen Corla. Last Friday, hundreds of parents of children with disabilities protested outside the Dáil. I think there was also a protest in Cork and in Enniscorthy. It was organised by Families Unite for Services and Support, FUSS, and the hashtag they used was Let's Make a Fuss. And I tell you, the speeches that we heard were extremely powerful. You're talking about parents who are forced to make a fuss, forced to struggle to try to get what their children deserve as a basic right and as a basic need. And they really shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to have protests. They shouldn't have to take court cases against the state. They shouldn't have to try and pressurise for just the basic rights. But they feel that they have no choice because their children are utterly failed by the state in terms of the extremely long waiting lists, the inadequate supports and the absence of support in our schools. I want to raise a particular issue about the fact that in Tallaght, in all of Tallaght, there is only one secondary school with an autism class. There are now, thankfully, multiple primary schools with autism classes, but we're getting to a point where students will graduate from primary school, want to be going on to secondary school, and there's only one secondary school at the moment. Surely that doesn't make any sense, and we need to expand the number of schools with autism classes.
Deputy Murphy raised the issue of I don't want any court cases or protests. There shouldn't have to be protests or court cases in relation to children with special needs. I would have brought in the 1998 Act and would have brought in the automatic enrolment for children with special needs in 1998, which was the first time that children with autism had a special pupil-teacher ratio, or that any child with special needs had a pupil-teacher ratio. And that brought in special classes within mainstream schools and then children within the mainstream classes themselves. At post-primary level, that hasn't followed through on what has happened in primary level. It's crazy that there's only one school in Tallaght at a post-primary level. And I would envisage a greater role for the ETBs in the provision of special education, particularly post-primary level. And every secondary school should play its part in respect of providing for children with special needs, every post-primary school. And there needs to be a proper second-level curriculum provided and intake by all schools. And certainly it should be resolved on a catchment area basis. It can't be left to just one school to provide. And in any event, given the needs of post-primary autism, one school will have a limit to what it can do because of progression and space and facilities. There have been some very good examples of where post-primary schools have embraced this. And recently in Cork, the ETB took over or started a new special school at primary level. At post-primary level. And it's turned out to be a significant success. And I do think the ETB need to play a stronger role across the country in terms of being the patrons of new schools at post-primary level especially, and to make sure that children have rightful progression from primary to post-primary, because the same sort of revolution hasn't happened at post-primary level that has happened at primary level over the last 20 years. And